Primarily what we do is to monitor what happens on the airfield. We do that with the help of the cameras and radars on the field. We have about 6 positions with 3 radars. This is the map of the airfield. At this point, we have a camera and a radar here. We have a camera here. We have a camera and a radar here. We have a camera here. We have a camera and a radar here. We have a camera here. We have our cameras. We have the thermal camera, which can aid us at night. We'll be able to view anything moving at night. Yeah. And then we have the normal camera, which can view during the day. We have some special cameras that have the twin lens, one the thermal and then the other the normal visual. Our cameras go as far as 1.5 kilometer radius. With the installations on the field, when there is anything moving on the field, the radar detects and then sends to the camera. The nearest camera to the object or whatever it is zooms to that particular thing. And so it gives us an alarm. This alarm you're hearing is as a result of the wind blowing so much on the airfield, even the grass. These IDs you're seeing is the grass on the air side. So because of the wind is much, so it's picking it as if it's an object there. So that's why we have it focusing on places like this on the air side.
What is the purpose of leaving that grass? Clearing it will not bring a kind of security for you people. Then
yes.
It will control the sound of the camera.
Yes.
So at least, Rector,
yes.
If leaving the grass like that doesn't give any advantage, at least to make the place cleared, then at least when your camera is sound, so definitely there is something on it.
Exactly.
Not the grass is to be suffering your cameras.
It will keep you busy.
Yes. Then any attempt you should be watching what is happening. And it's because of the grasses that is making noise.
This will give you false alarm. So the false alarm now, you will mistaken it when it is real alarm.
Yes.
You will think it's grass. So we must call for the clearing of the grasses.
Honorable members.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
You mentioned that your camera covers about 1.5 kilometers radius.
Yes.
Do you mean that the camera rotates or the lenses are all over? Because if you are talking of radius, you are looking at the nucleus, then 1.5 kilometers here. So that's why
when we zoom, we can go as far as 1.5 kilometer radius.
To watch?
To one direction.
Distance or radius?
All round. Radius.
All round.
Yes.
All round.
So that means you have lenses all around the camera, or it rotates?
It rotates.
The camera rotates.
Yes.
Okay. So 1.5 kilometers of whatever the direction,
yes.
the camera is facing at a particular time. Okay, thank you very much.
Director, are they having any major challenge here?
Yes.
Maybe something that
are you having
supporting people to increase the quality of
the surveillance?
Yes, the surveillance.
What challenges are you having?
Yeah, quite alright. The challenges we have, it's at the extreme end where we have the grasses. When they are high, no matter, even if there is someone within, you will not be able to know if it's a human being or not, because the person is within the grass. But once the area is being cleared, somewhere like this, so when it is, someone can hide it and will not be able to detect it.
This is not going to be the Thank you.
Not late.
How many months? I've made the This new aircraft, but were they flown in? Yes, so they can do long range. So they'll keep stopping small until you reach You don't know how to unlock. Oh yeah, something has been sent to you on WhatsApp. Oh yeah, open it now. Oh yeah, Mala, yeah, I know you are not saying it. Oh yeah, you go there. Previous one that we use, which is very expensive and scarce, and make it reduce the cost. Yes. So it will reduce the cost of training. And this is fiberglass, the structure, so it is lighter and easy to maintain. So the reduction in the cost of fueling this will it be reflected in the fees paid by your students? No, that cannot be done because this aircraft is more expensive
than the other. So this is the modern one for pilots, particularly for training.
Because so as a matter of fact, with the acquisition of this aircraft, the cost of training is supposed to increase.
Yes, of course.
Not, yes.
Because you are doing it for a range of hours, right? For the trainees.
Yes. Per hour, hourly, and with the sophisticated machine, more expensive.
Yes. But what happens to your simulator?
No, we are going there.
Yeah. What happens to it?
Yes. How? In terms of training, before coming into the aircraft.
Yeah, our simulator actually does a lot of good job for our training because it reduces a lot of risk. Because
you're already on ground.
Ab initio, bringing a new student into the training environment, it is safer for you to test him in the
simulator before coming into the real aircraft. Yeah. So that's some of the answers we are looking at. But another issue is this issue of supply of the mini aircraft. I know it is an exclusive contract without any variation. Is the delay from our side or from the Australian Yes, because it's important to that. The time this contract was awarded, dollar was about 300 and something. And today dollar is 4 something. So it's important to... Engineer Hilton, I have a very critical question regarding the issue of variation.
Yes, we went together.
My colleague was asking about the variation because the time that we bought the aircraft, the dollar is 60 or so. Then now it's 5.
Even 4 officially.
So
is the delay from our side?
Yes.
Or is the delay from the manufacturer? Because if it is from our side, definitely there will be a variation.
Yes, sir. The delay will say that it's from the government side, but there may not be a variation. Why? Because the award was in USD at the prevailing exchange rate at the time of payment. Okay. So that's how the award was done by the Federal Executive Council. So anytime we are doing payment, the prevailing CBN exchange rate becomes the exchange rate that we are using for the payment.
Because figures are not changing?
Yes, they are not changing. It's awarded
so
in
it's an exclusive contract?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
These are the remaining diamonds.
Utilize for flight operations. And these are part of the aircraft that was ordered for Nigerian College of Aviation Technology in our effort to replete. So we have two right now at the third hangar. The other aircraft that we have here are the ones that we have kept for storage. Yes, we withdraw some aircraft and then we store them here. And because we schedule our flight, so depending on the flight ratio demand, we systematically, to effectively utilize our aircraft so as not to waste the resources. So that is why eventually
you pick only 2. We start using it.
Now we are effectively using 4, and then we are keeping 2 under storage. So as flight operation, the pressure increase, so we foresee it, and then we fully prepare them for effective flight management. Just to control the resources exactly. Yes, but we have a few aircraft that you can see kept in the third hangar.
Are they working?
Yes, some of them are, and some of them are not. Like we have the TB-20 aircraft, they are also stored here, but because of spare parts and COVID restrictions, so we are unable to get spare parts at the right time we expect to get them due to the supply chain restrictions. So some of them, that is why they are kept here. But immediately we get the spare part, then we remove them out and also respond to the flight operations demand. We also have the B-58 Beechcraft aircraft. The two aircraft are kept here also under storage. And then a few remaining on the fleet, that is the 10 people TB9 and the aircraft.
For how long have you ordered the spare parts?
Yeah, we have ordered this.
At least you have to get the kind of time frame that you can request and you can get the spare part within the time frame. Then you can be able to.
Yes, we do. It's ongoing, and because we don't have Atlantic Ocean account, it's based on budget, and so that is why the planning and the systematic requests used to come in. That is why we don't have everything complete. We just go and.
So what are the challenges?
The major challenges that we have is the finance, the funding. We feel very much not having sufficient funding for us to effectively respond to the pressure across the demand line.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's important to find out about the C-check system. How do you do your C-check? Do you do your C-check here?
Okay, our type of aircraft, each manufacturer of each aircraft do classify a type of checks. Exactly. So C-check terminology is done with major big aircraft. But here, like the TB9, we used to have the what we call the 50-hour check, and then the 100-hour check. And then we used to have the annual inspection check, and then of course the special inspections upon accumulation of some hours. Exactly. So each aircraft, like the B-58, we used to have a 100-hour inspection, and then we repeat again and again. The same thing with Diamond aircraft, DA-4042, new generation aircraft. So our type of checks are not having the same terminology.
Bigger aircraft like the commercial aircraft. Exactly. Because if you look at the smaller aircraft, that the old ones.
Yes, sir.
Some of them are, I cannot say they are. Manufacturers globally, particularly the ICAO Convention, which regulates some of the aircrafts to certify those manufacturers for you to buy from them. The demand is based on demand.
Yes.
So if you don't place your demand now, some of them you place the demand because they are outdated, they have to manufacture them and supply to you. So the supply chain management, if you are not able to pay the money on time, or you pay, because I know in ICAO law says you have to pay a certain percentage before the even commitment percentage, which is about 60, in terms of spare part is 60%. And now that they have the zero duties to bring in spare parts, which I think is also additional cumulative of time frame. So how do you manage this kind of aircraft? When you have these newer ones, maybe you can believe, because everything has been modernized now. The world globally is changing. I'm talking from experience. I've been in this field from the 90s as aircraft maintenance engineer when Captain Shetima Abagana was our commandant. And you are around. I clearly remember your face. So I'm talking from that experience. If you look at the time frame from that time to this time, the time difference is huge. I was talking with Engineer Zigon. I think he was there. We are together. We are not together, but we've been sharing experiencing of one of the best flying schools in the world in Daytona Beach, Riddle. They don't even have this kind of facilities. Even the airport of Riddle was located inside the Daytona airport. Such a small community, but this is one of the best flying schools in the world. And they don't have this kind of facilities. So I don't want us to see this place as a waste. So we can be able to do more. I remember during that time, we have students from neighboring countries, Ghana, Niger, Cameroon, Chad. We are all here together with them. But are they still coming? So we have to look at the IGR site. And in terms of the newer version of the aircraft, we can even do lifting with the CVN. Movement of CVN, you know what I'm talking about. So even that one can be able to enhance your revenue in this kind of situation like this. Flight from Zaria to Abuja to Lagos and so many other places. You can be able, even though they are new, smaller aircraft, And because of the variation of the weather, you can be able to dictate the time frame when flight will take off and when flight will land, especially now that we were in dry season. So we can be able to enhance more revenue in terms of that, particularly with the new aircraft. So we expect to see the new aircraft doing more activities than parking them here. A lot of our students now are studying in Nigeria because of cost of dollar denomination. People don't even get visas to go to US and study flying. People have stopped going to South African flying school and so many other places. And so I think we can enhance that.
Your charges is less because you are collecting 7.5, while other
will see how we can respond effectively to become
because my fear as one of the biggest schools in Africa, one of the biggest schools in Africa, there are so many potentials we can do. I remember in those days, even if you graduate from School of Aviation Zaria, you still have to go to another country for training yourself to get certified so that globally you will be recognized. And I think we can stand on our feet today and say, anybody that studies in the School of Aviation Zaria can be certified in Nigeria and he can fly any kind of aircraft. So these are some of the issues because type rating can be different. Of course, if you want to do your type rating, you can go based on the aircraft or based on the company you are going to work with and the kind of aircraft they have on ground. So these are some of the issues I think. If you bring it to the National Assembly like the chairman said, I believe we can be able to do something to regularize this because this is one of the oldest flying schools in Africa. And still look at where we are today.
So sir, we are very much lucky we have a resource person like you part of the visit. And like he is talking, he is very sensitive, he is very much aware of part of our historical needs. So like issues like the certificate you talked about, we have to widen beyond the ICAO level of training. We have to start affiliating with the IASA. That is the referential area he's talking to. FAA, if we affiliate, our certificate will now become more universally accepted than going only ICAO. That is localizing our standard if we remain with only ICAO certificate levels. Whatever airlines are doing, we also have the potentials, we have the resources. We should be able to respond adequately to generate sufficient revenue.
Because sometimes if you didn't say it, you are taking the difference.
It's part of the world. I think northern Nigeria can station this as part of your cargo thing because you have so many terminals for cargo, and that will also enhance your revenue. Look at cargos. Every single day, all these international airlines are flying in cargo only. So the School of Aviation also can take part of that and generate that landing and parking and all these things, warehousing and storage, so that at the end of the day you will enhance your idea. When you, like you said, once you fall to us, we'll make sure we do the right thing. Anybody can come in.
one is a standalone project. It's not necessarily for our own students here. It's for all of us, anywhere from yes,
But your graduates must pass through this.
But not necessarily. Yes, sir. The graduates they're just starting as new pilots. As they grow in the airlines now when they feel like it's now time for them to have a type rating on this large size of aircraft, they can now bring them to the staff.
It's like postgraduate.
That is what you were saying.
Let me just chip into this. The typewriting aspect of an aircraft comes in different way of typewriting. You can be specialized on 737, for example, but you are not specialized on 747. So if you want to move from 737 to Boeing, to any of the bigger aircraft, you have to do what they call typewriting. So you have to go on typewriting to ensure that you study those manuals, because the setup is the same. But there are certain buttons and manual in the aircraft that are different from the other one. So you need to study that for you to be able to go further, so that it can be good in flying 747, 737, and so on and so forth. But the only angle we are trying to reach, I hope the presidential fleet are patronizing you here, because they have the new intake. Yes. And some of them go abroad and pay thousands of dollars.
Have you started using it? We have not really finished the installation. So we are in the batch of doing that. By next week, the Canadian contractor is going to link through the internet to do some more settings here. By the time we finish, we can now launch it and begin to fly.
So it's a very good achievement. For us to have typewriting in Nigeria, before you have to go abroad, but now you can do it home.
You want to have a look?
It's a very laudable.
He wants to.
Let's take it. I'm sorry.
Papa,
look for record doing now.
If you go around the power, it takes a while.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't have a small flower. Small one. Yeah. No, I will do it. When you remove it, I will just do flower like this.
Okay, I will do the regular.
No problem.
Amount I will bring it.
No problem.
Let's go. Hey, engineer, I can't remove the belt. I will fly this thing. If you don't release it, I will fly it. Okay, thank you.
This 737.
No, it's that. You send it to my phone already. It was not clear.
It was not.
Are you stopping us?
Yes, yes. Once you get in there, you feel as if you are flying. You just feel as if you are flying. Some people play it, you buy the software and put it on your computer, and you buy those landing gear and all the jets, a lot of my friends, even my son does that. He has all the software, and he can fly from his computer. You feel as if you are flying actually.
Are we okay?
The Airbus engine, we have the Boeing engine, we have the CRA engine, that is propeller. So on this, we have three major scenarios, internal and external fire and smoke scenario. So all these three major scenarios have comprises into 23 scenarios that you can find in this aircraft. So we have this, as now, since there's no LPG, we're using to open the valves known as what pilot plants. We open the pilot plants now to know that yes, this machine is functioning. So if there's gas now, the next thing that you see here is what? Fire. So we now select, oh, it has selected that is the head of what? LPG, that is gas. We're using that. Fire, that's so all these $110,000 to 200,000 liters. So it's coming to the systems, then going back to the reservoir, from the reservoir the treatment plant, from the treatment plant back to the reservoir. So it's in the cycle. It's rotating, it's not waste. So what is coming, we call a dredge. The dredge there will open, they will now accept the water that is falling to the reservoir. From the reservoir to the treatment plant. Then from the treatment plant back to the water tanks. So we plead with the whole those that come here now, we cry for what is detaining the training service, the hydrants and overhead tanks and the access road. If there's access road here, trainings can be going. The machine is okay, 100% working. But no access roads, no hydrants, no overhead tanks. So even the classrooms, no lights for now. So in the admin block. So we plead that if to receive, even today, we have almost 100,000 or 1,000 personnel in FAN waiting for training on this. Chevron have contacted us. Zamfara have contacted us for training. And we have written to the director.
So that means this is not specifically for training of pilots?
No, the that of the pilots we call dynamics. This is not dynamics simulator.
Not for pilots alone?
Yes.
It's for general fire?
General fire, and you know, a pilot cannot take off without this. So that of the pilot we call it dynamics simulator. 737, Boeing 737 is dynamics. This one is non-dynamics. It's stationary. That was pilot, when we are there, you see that we are already on the real simulation act. This is, we call it dynamics.
So pilots can fight fire?
Yeah, pilots cannot fight fire. They are there on the simulation of this, how to separate, what do you call that? Like pilots, they need to separate if there's a hold up. They call it separation techniques. But since I'm a fireman, we are there to, before aircraft takeoff and landing, we are there to wait for them in case if they have problems. In a firefighting, we are aerodrome rescue and firefighting services, providing in all the airports, anywhere. So if an aircraft wants to take off, they must radio us from air traffic controller. There's also aircraft is taking off with also persons on board that should get ready for that takeoff. You know, takeoff is very difficult and landing is difficult. There's overshooting and short shooting. So when the aircraft take off, we now say that and stabilize, we now withdraw back to stations. But without taking or without overshooting, we say Alhamdulillah. So no problem. So these are the agencies. And when the aircraft is coming to land again with trouble, either engine failure or undercarriage shorting up. That is, we know undercarriage is known as wheel assembly. That is the tires. The low.
That doesn't come out.
Yeah, if it didn't shoot out. So we now said we are there ready for them to land.
To crash land?
No, yes, to crash land. They are coming. We are ready. They will not have any injury. We save the life and properties. That is our aims. So we now what we call before the early or the former method that we are using, you place balloon in the runway. Now later on forming, but now everywhere need to have, we have links, link 1, link 2, link 3, and the fire links. All the fire tenders will be there. If you're in the threshold, if you land at the threshold, those fire link equipment that are there, they will not engulf you with water and foam. So there won't be any friction between the plane and the distance. So life and property will be safe.
The balloon you mentioned, are they existent on Nigerian airports?
No, that's why I said the Asian. The Asian.
Balloon is Asian.
Yeah, it's the Asian.
So it's not as efficient as
no, it's not a recent one. Yeah.
Okay.
So the major challenge is just overhead tank and
hydrants and the access and the fire tender inside.
At least when those things
are in place,
ready, then you will start.
100%, and you start getting input. Input is that now.
Brian Zebu, who is the head aircraft flying school. Mother Sagir is an instructor with the aviation school. If order comes, I will introduce them. So at this point, my director is his brief welcome address. I think we will allow the, if that is okay by the chairman. Thank you, my chairman. This time.
I represent Arounda, a record known. I am from Osun State, the state of Badford.
Honorable Chair, honorable colleagues, of Nigeria, Mr. Chairman.
The students of the Nigerian College of Aviation welcomes the Honorable Chairman, represented by the Vice Chairman, and the honorable members of House Committee on Aviation to the Africa's foremost aviation institution. The Nigeria College of Aviation Technology Zaria was established by an act of Parliament in 1964, number 31. The college is charged with the responsibility of training pilots, air traffic controllers, aircraft maintenance engineers, aeronautical telecommunication engineers, cabin crew, flight dispatchers, and several other aviation specialists for the aviation industry. Our vision is to maintain the prestigious position of the foremost aviation training institution in Africa and be amongst the best in the world. Our mission is to consistently provide the aviation industry with professionals and other personnel through training and related services for safe transportation, air transportation in accordance with international standards. The NCAA, we have some certifications here to show. We've been an approved training organization certified by the NCAA, ICAO Regional Training Center of Excellence, IATA Authorized Training Center, MBTE, full and entrant accreditations on national diplomas and HND courses. We are fully certified, non-accredited duplicator member of the Aviation Accreditation Board in Ohio in the United States of America. We are an Association of African Aviation Training Organization member council. We have 6 training schools: the Flying School, Aircraft Maintenance Engineering School, Aeronautical Telecommunication Engineering School, Air Traffic Services Communications School, Aviation Management School, and Airport Emergency Training School. The flying school conducts training for pilots, cabin crew, flight dispatchers. These are some of the facilities we use to train the trainees. As we've seen, we went around looking at the simulators. The Aircraft Maintenance Engineering School conducts training of aircraft maintenance engineers and technicians. The Air Traffic Services and Communication School conducts training of air traffic controllers, Aeronautical Information Services officers, communication officers, marshals, and aviation security personnel. The Aeronautical Telecommunication Engineering School conducts the training of ACSEP engineers and technicians. The Aviation Management School conducts the training of management and other support staff. We conduct full-time here in Zaria, which is not running right now, but we are running part-time at Abuja and Lagos at the moment. Airport Emergency Training School. This is the simulator we went to see. It's used to conduct training of aerodrome rescue and firefighting personnel. Most of the people that come here are fund staff. They come to learn how to fight fire and the fire services. And it's one of the best in Africa. We used to go to Cameroon to train our firefighters. But with this simulator now, as soon as we start, we don't have to go elsewhere to train. At the end of the day, they will come from other places to train here in Zaria. Achievements. We graduated 51 students, 51 courses with 609 graduates were completed from January to October this year. And at the moment, we have 31 courses running with 517 at the moment participating in this institution. ICAO achievements, ICAO Global Training Achievements and Awards. We are recognized by the Global Aviation Training Achievements as the college that had the college received 2 awards for the highest number of trained instructors 2016, 17, 18, and 19. I'm sure 2020 COVID-19 might have slowed activities down. And we are the highest number of ICAO courses conducted in 2016 and 17. Challenges. That's thank you. I cannot do it without the help of the National Assembly and the staff of the college. So we appreciate that. We thank God. Challenges. Due to the high cost of the aviation gasoline, that's why we moved from the old airplane to the new one that uses Jet A1, which is a little bit lower and it is adequate. You can find it anywhere. Inadequate number of requests, specialized manpower, especially instructors in the flying school, the cabin crew, and the air traffic controllers. We used to have high attrition of professionals to the industry. You see pilots running away to the airliners, our traffic controllers running to NAMA, some of our professionals running to NCAA looking for greener pasture. That is all due to the remuneration here is very low. So probably the National Assembly will look into that and help us review it upwards. We get a better remuneration to keep our experts and trained instructors here. Thank you. High cost of training and subsequently high government subsidies on cost. All our courses and trainings are subsidized by the federal government. If a pilot pays 7.5 million naira to be trained as a pilot, the whole money goes to his accommodation and feeding. So, although the college is not a profit-based institution, but we would like to have sufficient IGR that will keep us running, helping the overhead cost. Next, inadequate training capacity due to insufficient facilities like hostel accommodations and classrooms. Sometimes we can't take in trainees because we don't have enough accommodation to house them. So we are lacking accommodation of classrooms also. The encroachment, the Kaduna State government have done a lot for us, and they've started recovering the encroached environment behind the college. The grassland community has been demolished to an extent where our perimeter ends. So we're waiting for the Kaduna State government to give us the go-ahead to fence the area and secure the place. With the trend of insecurity around the communities, we are looking to do that as soon as possible. And we have 8 college buildings, lowest remuneration I mentioned in the industry. I don't want to go back again on it. Major areas needed assistance. Amendment of the College Act, the Aviation Act, and to ensure classification of the college as a tertiary institution, we can access funds from the TEF fund and other advantages of being a tertiary institution. Upgrading of training aids and equipment. We will all come back to you on those things. On behalf of the entire management and staff of the college, we wish to express our appreciation to the Honorable Chairman and Honorable members of the House Committee on Aviation for the support that has made it possible for the college to continue to fulfill its mandate. We thank you so much for the oversight visit, and we look forward to your continuing support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is Director of Catherine Agadi Modubo. You have a question?
After his submission.
Okay, this is what I want to invite the chairman, sir.
Director of the NCAT and his team. Let me allow one of our colleagues that he just came late to introduce himself. Can you give him? Let me not to forget to use this video to congratulate you, because the other time that we came here you are not on the seat of rector, and today you are the rector of NCAT. So honorable members are congratulating you, and we go around, we saw a lot of changes, and I was even surprised your performance of 2021 is only 30% or 30-something%, but the issue is not from you people, it's from the finance. So it's better for you people, sometimes if you have that problem, to notify the committee. At least we can push finance to release more funds for you, because most of the members, they are very happy for what we saw, because last year what we saw is not there, but today a lot of changes, and you know we are partners in progress. We are not here to withhold the agency, rather to assist if there are some lapses from the contractor or from the finance, for us to support. So you are very free. Anytime if you have problem, Rector, you should go straight to the chairman of committee, because all these members, we are representing the National Assembly. Other members are in other committees representing the National Assembly. In aviation sector, we too, we are representing the National Assembly. And that act, we are trying to see how we can support the NCAT to get more idea, more funds to enable the NCAT to work perfectly. So anytime the window is open, I don't want to take our time because most of our members, they are trying to move to their constituencies or to go and join other committees. But I will allow some of my colleagues, maybe if they have one or two things to add, then we can close the... So the honorable colleagues, do you have something to add? Would you want him to respond? Is it director? So rector should come over. So let me give my colleague, then maybe you are the one that will answer the questions.
Yeah, you mentioned 7.5 million. Is it for a session, a semester, or duration of the whole course? That's my first question. Then the other one is a suggestion, because as we were going around, I noticed that you have challenges with the wind. Your roofs are blown off, one of the gates to the hangars broken. To that one, I want to suggest that maybe you look at the possibility of engaging a consultant on a particular type of roof that will suit this terrain. Because this terrain is very prone to wind. Now the third one is that as we are going around, we saw the premises littered with unserviceable aircrafts. And I believe that these unserviceable aircrafts will be deteriorating if they are not repaired to be put into use. So I want to suggest that maybe you follow the due process of disposing of those that you cannot repair, to hand money for NCAT rather than for them lying on the field facing further deterioration. Thank you very much. I remain Honorable Olubukola Oyo, representing Osogbo Federal Constituency. Thank you.
The fees. Actually, the fees is a package. When you pay 7.5 for the pilot training, it's a package. It comes in with all the dimensions, the feeding, the accommodation, and the training. If a student lasts 2 years and graduate, that's good for the college. But if the student lasts 3 years or 4 years, it's bad for the college. We'll continue to feed him and accommodate him, and he will be busy using the utilities. Number two, you talked about the hangars. We had a good consultant whom we met. The consultant did a very good job, but the contractor did a bad job. And it comes with the nature. When you do a poor job, you suffer when the nature takes its energy against the work you did. So, and the contract has been going on for some time. We are trying to see how the contractor will come and rectify the damages, and then we move forward. And the third one, you spoke about
unserviceable
airplanes. They're going to be auctioned. Some are useless, and some will be sold to the Gongoni people to go and dismantle it, and but the money won't come back to us. It will go back to the chest. That is it. Any question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Director. On behalf of us here, I just want to appreciate the achievement so far. From last year's visitation to date, I've seen a lot of changes, and I think I must commend the institutions for that. But going forward, a school like this with this very historic nomenclature of so many things going on in the aviation sector, and one of the biggest in Africa, with a lot of these facilities we've seen. Going forward by contacting TETFON as a tertiary institution here, they can be able to do a lot for you. And I believe and I hope you'll write to TETFON so that you can be able to sit with them and see what they can do for the school, particularly the road network. It is very important to look at the dilapidated buildings and also looking at the road network so that it can give students coming in and out. But my main points there I would like to raise is the issue of the foreign students. Are the foreign students also paying the same 7.5, or do they have a package? And if they do, what are the ratio of the foreign student compared to the Nigerian student that we have there? And how open and what kind of courses do you pursue here more in terms of training and the flying, the engineering, and the other programs you are doing? These are some of the issues I just want to have an idea on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rachel, you should take a note of 4 items. You should feed the committee update 2020 and 2021 budget appraisal charge detailing the total appropriation, total quarterly release, utilization percentage of release and shortfall, update on internally generated revenue IGR and its remittance with treasury receipts, undertake on the spot assessment of project site, program and activities, especially the above listed projects, document of abundant project, if any, in your agency from year 2015 to date, detailing on the yearly chart. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll take note to that. Probably we should have the speech copy or for retention so that we can work on the update for the committee on the 2020-2021. As you said, the utilization, the remittance, etc. And on the question of your question, the foreign students, I will use an example for the pilot, for the flying training. The foreign student will pay $50,000, which is far more than the 7.5 million naira. $50,000 is good money for a trainer, and they pay in dollars. They don't pay in naira. But we have very few. At the moment, I don't think we have one. Head of flying school, do we have a foreign student? We don't have one. One applied, wanted to come back and forth. At the end of the day, he never showed up. And in fact, he was recommended by the minister. But his parents meet the minister and the boy wants to be a pilot. So we try so much to engage in communication, to get them to come over, to get him to come over and train. But he never showed up. And the second question was what?
Issue of TED fund.
TED fund. And the act that we've been pursuing at the National Assembly, it has one of our acts is the tertiary institution. The college is not a tertiary institution by act. Unless that act is that bill is signed to act, then we can access tertiary fund. We're looking forward to that. Hopefully, when you go back, you will get things done. By end of this year, we should be a tertiary institution. Thank you.
Rector, just a clarification. On this 7.5 tuition, should we want to maybe sponsor some of our constituents? Is it a one-off thing, or we can do instrumental?
You can do instrumental. Head of flying school, Oversight, do we ask you?
Yes, sir, we have the initial payment should not be less than 4 million, and it has to be there should be, by the time we compute after spending that 4 million by the student, it's expected that the next payment should be done, because we met the brief of the rector made mention that we are not making any profit out of it. It is the same money paid by the student that have been paid with, been accommodated, their medical, sports, and other facilities is also accommodated in the bill. Thank you, sir.
Rector, I think what he was asking is about for him to know we can split it twice or 3 times.
At least for him, the money to be split 2 times or 3 times. Maybe he has a plan of taking one of his constituents to this place. So,
initial payment.
okay, the down payment is 4 million naira.
According to the milestone, it will reach a milestone that is expected to be until the end of the program.
$4 million by the time you enter.
Sometimes we pay once.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
All the school fees increases.
Distinguished honorables, ladies and gentlemen,
first time to come down to join us in this good mission. We want to take us back to our various destinations.
Thank you very much. And with this, we have finally come to today's program.
Some of the challenges that we do have.
Okay, sir. You also spoke about the land that was reclaimed. The residents complained that over 400 houses were demolished to help expand, to add to your land. So what is going to be the importance of this land? How are you going to? How is that going to help?
It's not added to our land. The area, the land belongs to NCAT for the past 57 years. So it is a reclaim. It's not demolish 400 houses to add to NCAT. It's not so. We reclaimed our original plot of land that was encroached for more than 20 years. All other administration could not get that done. And with the lack of having His Excellency El-Rufai, he did the right thing and the land was recovered. With the intention, the school will reclaim its land, to use it for the purpose the school is meant for.
Sir, follow up to that, sir. My name is Mr. Panya Uli from University of Nigeria. So we realize that there is a plan to commercialize the airport here. And part of the challenge to that is the land which has been encroached. We will not have 2.6 kilometers speed that we require. So when are we likely to see that happen? Now that you have the land again that you have to pass by the government.
You see the 2.6 you said about, probably you meant the length of the runway. The length of the runway will not extend towards the area that was encroached. The length will extend towards the bushes. We have 2 runway ends, 05 and 23. So we are extending the length. Though we will extend the width. The width will go, it will not even go into the houses, but because the proximity of the community is so close to the runway, even if it is not expanded, right now it was so close, if there's any mishap, the airplane could, end up in one of the houses and it will, spell disaster. So we looked at the ministry has given, the Federal Executive Council has given approval for the expansion and extension of the runway. And if the runway is expanded and extended, bigger airplanes will be comfortable to come in for whatever purpose, for even commercial purpose or private purposes.
My name is Abubakar Sadiq Mohammed. I write for Leadership Newspapers. On the issue of this diamond aircraft, you rightly pointed out that you have taken purchase of only 6 out of 15. How soon are we likely to see the remaining substantial number of 9?
We expected to receive 5 more twin engines, and then I think 3 or so. I can't remember the number. We were supposed to receive them this year, but for the bureaucracy and the protocols, it might end up coming next year. So as soon as things are done, the airplanes will come. It has been paid.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
100% satisfied because we know the certain percentage that they have released to them, and what we saw is even more than 30%. So we are trying to encourage the Ministry of Finance to give them more support, because any agency that we came for oversight and cite that they are doing the right things. So always we are supporting them to get the release. That's the purpose of our constitutional right of oversight, section 88, 89 of the 1999 Constitution, to come on oversight, because the moment the president sends a budget, we're supposed to come quarterly, but sometimes first quarter, second quarter, they will not be able to get a release. So maybe it's near third quarter, we are coming to see what they did. Then we should plan for the agencies against 2022 budget.
So there is a plea by the Institute for the amendment of the Act establishing it to enable it to attract funding from third parties. Where are we on that?
No, we are working on it, and I even tell the agency that sometimes because of the tight schedule they should be reminding, because we are working on it, because we know that when third fund comes in, definitely they will get a release, and we can see the new structure, because if you go to the tertiary, some school, you can see new buildings. So we hope by the time that the act is ready, so definitely they will come in and assist the NCAT.
So a follow-up to this question, sir. On this act, it's like the college has been pressing on this act for quite some time. And even the last time you were here, you promised the same thing, that you're going to ensure speedy amendment of this act. What actually is constraining the implementation of, the amendment?
You know, sometimes amendment of the act has to do with all the stakeholders, to invite them to give their own advice and to point the advantage and disadvantage of the act before. So on the process of contacting the stakeholders, that's where the bill you will see the delay. But I'm telling you, most of the members, including the National Assembly, in respect of that act, they are 100% support that act.
Okay. So what should we be expecting going forward after your oversight here? What will the House do? What are you going to do to improve that?
No, you know, now, hence we did the oversight, at least hence before ending of the year, we're supposed to even push the Ministry of Finance to make more release for NCAT, to enable them to make a progress on the other construction. Because if you look at you follow us, even you will know that they are working seriously. As I said, we are not here to resource the NCAT staff, rather to support, to give the maximum cooperation from the National Assembly, their job to be easy for them.